asked the Minecraft community to submit their best redstone builds and contraptions, and they did. This redstone showcase will show you the best builds in Minecraft. Everything from Enderpearl cannons and the fastest translocators to a working game of Minesweeper, the most advanced trading halls and storage systems that you've ever seen, and a clock that will outlast the universe. And this is the best redstone of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. And this is part 2, by the way. In part 1, I showed the biggest piston doors in Minecraft and so much more. You can also submit builds for part 3 at the link in the description. Huge thanks to everyone who submitted builds, especially the Amalix Foundation. Their names will be on screen and links are down below. This is a 120 block per second translocator. So when we get inside of this thing, it's gonna go so fast that it's gonna break every single bone in my body. So let's just hop in this thing and see what happens. As you can see, it's incredibly quick. And that's just so fast. We went 360 blocks in no time at all. It's a bit hard to tell just how fast it is in first person mode. So let's put a villager in here real quick. And this guy is basically gone. Yeah, he was there 1 second and now he's all the way down there. So I believe how this is working is when you have the minecart right here, it's inside this piston, right? And of course you're gonna activate that string, which is gonna activate the piston and push the minecart down. And then it's gonna be in the middle of all 4 of these glass blocks, basically. And then that's gonna get pushed forward by these pistons, which will, you know, do a little bit of magic and push you forward. Now, all the slime and these pistons are simply here to, you know, reset the system so it can be used again. And then it just kind of repeats that process and you just go really, really quickly. And the amazing thing is just how simple the build is. It's literally just a redstone line that powers these pistons and then it just keeps on going and powers those ones. This next one is a full game inside of Minecraft and it's just an add-on so you can play it over and over again. So all you do is run this one structure command right here and that is going to load in this entire infinite Minesweeper game by Voctile, as you can see here. Now this is actually really, really impressive because it comes with different game modes. It's infinite and it automatically builds itself. It is really cool. Now I'm definitely a professional, so I'm gonna put it on the most difficult mode that I can find. So this thing is actually really, really cool. It's gonna teleport you up into the sky here, place in the first structure, and like this redstone is complicated, but then it's gonna start building itself up. Now this takes a couple of minutes to get a whole platform going, so we're gonna time lapse that, but as you can see, it is really cool. Like I've never seen something like this before. Just this weird spreading technology that has a lot of use on its own for weird corruption-based things. Yeah, and as you can see, it just loads in more structures. I don't know how the logic for that works. How does it overwrite itself? But that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. You can even see it on the map automatically filling in all the little squares and the little sections, and I love this so much. So each little tile comes with 3 different options. You can mark it as a mine, and that will tell you not to play this little square. You can mark it as this one, which means that you don't really know what's happening here. And then, of course, you can also just play the square as well. If you get lucky and you press on a square that's a 0, then that's actually going to free up all the squares in the area. As you can see, it just starts spreading around, and this is actually really cool looking. I also do not know how the logic for this works, but I find that to be really cool. And of course, we're on a low simulation distance right now, so I gotta run around and update all these things. Now I just gotta go look up how to play Minesweeper. Be right back. So as you can see, now that all this stuff is opened up, it's also going to update on the map, which is also just a really cool way of looking at it. So we know that all of these squares right here are 1, so we probably got a bomb right here. We'll mark that as a bomb. And then this one over here has got a lot of bombs on it. And you know what? I just want to see what happens when you click on a bomb. Oh, it actually blows up. So when you click on a mine, it does actually blow up, and that would be the end of the game normally. I don't think it's gonna spread and like destroy everything. So you can keep on playing this forever and forever. It just keeps on spreading across the Minecraft world. You can't stop it. It's like the plague. But yeah, this is really impressive. I think that this is super cool. I didn't even know things like this were possible. If you saw part 1 of the Redstone Showcase, then you might be surprised, but this is a flying machine that actually has a use. I know it's crazy, but bear with me. This is an automatic 2x3 tunnel creator, and as you can see, this thing is super cool. So we activate it by activating that observer. It's going to automatically generate a bunch of basalt, and then as it moves forward, all of this basalt is going to get generated into a 2x3 tunnel shape. Now it takes a second for it to actually form up the tunnel, but if we let it move forward a few blocks, then as you can see, it's going to create this really nice tunnel automatically for us. And after just a few blocks, as you can see, we got ourselves a roof, some walls, and a floor, and it's looking really good. good in here. So this thing will basically just keep on going on forever until you stop it, and this allows you to automatically create thousands of blocks worth of tunnels in your world. So as you can see, it is a self-contained flying machine, and this works in all dimensions. Of course, the water aspect doesn't work in the nether, but basically it's detecting when it flows basalt, and that activates the machine to move forwards. As you see, there's extra circuitry down at the bottom here to drag these walls downwards and then flood it with water, and then push the wall back up once it has been flooded. This must have taken so long to design. I mean, I can just see this thing exploding in like 1,000 different ways and being a pain. And of course, the reason why it's flooding it with water is because if you have frost walker boots on, that's going to automatically turn it all into frost, and then all you got to do is walk down this thing, or even just like run, jump, and then you can turn this entire thing into an ice boat tunnel. I really want a reason to build a 1,000 block long basalt nether tunnel now. This is a massive 360-degree Enderpearl cannon, which is basically the fastest form of transport that you can get in survival mode, since it's essentially instant teleportation to anywhere that you want. In theory, this system can have up to 260,000 individual destinations that you can teleport to. To give you a better understanding of how this works, it's launching the Enderpearl using set amounts of TNT with high precision. So as you can see from this lovely animation, depending on how much TNT you have in each of the 2 stacks, you can determine what direction the Enderpearl goes. When launching an Enderpearl, it's dispensing TNT into 1 or 2 of 4 possible locations with extreme precision, anywhere from 0 to 255 TNT per spot, which allows for an extreme range in how far and where the Enderpearl gets launched to. Now, of course, Enderpearls don't do anything when they're in unloaded chunks, so this requires an add-on that allows them to create their own little ticking areas, basically, and that's how these Enderpearls are going thousands of blocks. This system was worked on by tons of people on Bedrock Edition. You can see their names on screen, of course, and it was also made possible by a bunch of the legends on Java Edition who built these systems previously. So enough rambling, let's take a look at how you actually use the system, because it's really fun. So first of all, you need to stand into this little area right here, where you are precisely aligned into the corner, and then you just throw an Enderpearl straight downwards. That is going to be aligned properly and basically held in stasis down there, and this also allows multiple players to throw Enderpearls. That way a bunch of people can travel all at once. And then we have a 2D selector panel over here, which has a bunch of pre-programmed destinations, and this thing alone is really cool. So we can press a button and that'll select this column right here, and then if we press one of the buttons on the sides, that is also going to change the row. So as you can see, we can move that lamp down, we can move it up a row or 2. That is just really fun. So let's move it over to this one, and this is going to be our destination. So these Enderpearls get launched with extreme accuracy and reliability, so those are the exact coordinates that we should land on when we use the system. Now we're just going to lock in the coordinates that we want to travel to. And finally, it's time to get some TNT, so we just press that button. That's going to activate a bunch of TNT dispensers up there and translocators to get TNT where it should be, and that'll launch the pearl, and then give it a couple of seconds, we will be teleported to where we should be. Yeah, look at that. Exactly on the block. That is so cool. Thousands of blocks in just a couple of seconds. So this is the redstone for that 2D selector panel, and it is dense in there. So the output of this thing, it goes into more of these familiar rail lines that we've seen, and this is how we're actually determining how much TNT gets dispensed and where it gets dispensed in the system up above. So the data from this gets sent along by serial transmission up through this line right here, and that gets sent into the TNT dispensing systems up here. So all of these dispensers up here are full of TNT, and then we have translocators underneath all of them to transport that TNT over to the blasting area. So if we just press this button real quick, you can see just how much redstone goes into dispensing those TNT and getting them where they should. Now, I do have questions about these floating sheep, but I guess after doing all this redstone, you're allowed to be a little deranged. So this is the furthest destination I could find on this little selector panel, and let's see how long it takes us from pressing that button to end up 7,000 blocks away. There goes the TNT, and then we just wait a second. That was not very long at all. Look at that. Very, very nice. We're only 1 block off. Wow, that is unacceptable. Wow. And I thought this redstone was well refined. Literally, unplayable. This is the Nexadecimal, one of the most overpowered storage systems in Minecraft. This massive system was worked on by multiple people over the course of months. It's an incredibly optimized and complicated storage system. If you aren't getting overwhelmed just by looking at it, then you're not looking at it. This huge storage hall has so many features that it honestly deserves multiple videos on it, but let's break it down a little bit. So instead of sorting items like a standard system, it encodes each item into a 3-hex code, which determines what happens with that item. It's essentially giving each item a number, and each chest in the hall also has a number associated with it. So it's a complex game of matching those numbers and getting items where they're supposed to go. Here is a simplified flowchart of what happens to your items. Everything from loose items to shulkers, partial shulkers, and even items from the end dimension can be sorted by this type of system. There's a multi-item sorting portion of the hall, and also bulk storage, and even a furnace array. This system is highly optimized. When idle, it causes less lag than a basic sorter, only about 7 milliseconds of impact, and every single hopper in this system is locked when it's turned off. If I told you that there was a repeater or a redstone dust missing somewhere in this system, it'd probably take you about a week to find it. So, please no break. So this is the input to the system right here. We can throw some items into there. It's gonna get packaged into a shulker box, broken. A new box is gonna get dispensed. So that shulker box of items is somewhere. So the shulker box gets moved over, and eventually it gets unloaded by the system over here, which can unload multiple shulkers at once. They eventually end up in this hopper minecart, which goes under all of our category chests, telling the system which item is actually in that minecart and activating that slice. That way we can then sort items into it. It also then goes on a super fast trip down this little rail line right here, where it returns that filter item that it dragged out. And eventually all of our items get shot out into this water stream. They go into this hopper here, and then they eventually find their way into the main storage hall, which is right in here. And as you can see, it does actually sort some items, which is incredible. So as you can see, the items go on quite the journey, but they do actually get sorted, and this is just an absolute feat of engineering. These guys, they like, go work at NASA or something. What are you doing? Can you imagine making a tutorial on this? I can imagine pain. This redstone clock will outlast not only you and our entire civilization, the solar system, and the universe, but quite possibly even the multiverse. This redstone clock lasts over 202 quadrimillitricillion real-life years. That is this number right here on screen, or roughly this many Minecraft days. This means it'll outlast all stars and only hit 12 once everything has turned into silicon or iron. Civilization this far into the future is near impossible, as at this huge scale of time, even black holes seem to evaporate instantaneously. They still take a Google-ish years, but compared to the quadrimillitricillion, that's smaller than an atom is to the entire universe. Oh, and it fits within one chunk. This clock will last so long that if every atom in the universe had its own universe, which each lasted the same 14 billion years, the combined runtime of the universe, measured in nanoseconds, would only have 183 digits. This clock, measured in Earth years, has 12,000 digits. This clock works by using an initial clock at the very top, a daylight sensor on a 20-minute cycle, which acts as the metronome for the rest of the clock. The rest works by multiplying the clock cycle with copper bulbs, which acts as toggleable T flip-flops. The first lamp multiplies the cycle to 40 minutes, the next one to 80 minutes, then 160, so on and so on, each lamp multiplying the cycle by 2. With over 40,000 of these copper bulb multipliers, you get this number of Minecraft days. Divide it to get years and put it into base 10, and you get 10 to the power of 12,044 years. I would like to verify the speed of this clock, but I also want to get this video out before the heat death of the multiverse. Did I mention that this clock has 40,000 copper bulbs in it? After hours of sitting this world, not even all of them have turned on yet. There is no additional delay added to this clock. That is simply how long it takes for the signal to travel downwards through all of the comparators. So luckily, the redstone for this is actually really simple and straightforward. So each one of these glass blocks represents a copper bulb in the system, and this is the main clock right here, just based off of day-night cycle. So every time that this turns on and off, that's going to activate your copper bulbs and pass the signal down and along. And as you see, it is exponential very, very quickly. Now, these stacks are actually like really easy to build if you want to make your own universe death clock in your world. And you obviously don't need the entire stack. You barely need a fraction of that for a universe death clock. So that's cool. Huge props to DeeFeeCee for building and designing this. You can see more about the system here on screen. A ton of time and effort went into building this, and I think it's just the right amount of deranged. And what happens after the universe has crumbled to dust and blown away? One singular note block, signifying the release of GTA 6. This is the Amalek's Villager Complex, one of the most advanced villager trading halls on Bedrock Edition. There are so many features to this thing, including a selectable villager breeder, automatic raid farm, and a gold farm even. The idea behind this is to make all the most essential trades as quick and easy as possible with the least amount of hassle. So this thing is like hundreds of blocks tall, so we're gonna start at the top here, and this is the selectable villager breeder, which on its own is pretty cool. So you can use this lectern to tell it how many villagers you want. So this is going to give you 5 villagers, for example. You press the button and that's going to start dispensing food to all of these breeding pairs back here. Once these villager pairs have bred, all the babies will fall down and grow up into adults in this area right here, where you can then pick them up with a minecart and send them down to the zombie curing and trading station. So you can press that button right there to summon a villager. That sends a redstone signal up that line of scaffolding, which I did not know was possible. And then as you can see, we're going to get a villager called down here. So now, of course, you can put down the workstation to determine what job he should get, and you can re-roll him, and then you can also zombify him as well. So there's 4 different sections to this villager trading hall. We have them all color-coded, and this allows us to organize the villagers properly. So this little selector panel right here determines where the villager is going to go. So we can send this guy to any of the 4 sections that we want, and that's what these little selectors are here as well. So if we press this button right here, this is going to allow us to send the villager directly to this cell, basically automatically. We just gotta like send him into the system and then he'll end up over there. That alone is super convenient, but this area also has multiple different crop farms with all their drops being automatically sorted and then sent into shulker loaders and displays. That way you can easily stockpile a ton of materials for trading. So if you wanted to trade a bunch of iron, you could take out all of these things, and then once that shulker is empty, it's going to be broken and a new one will be dispensed full of materials for you to keep trading with. We also have item transport lines underneath all of our trading villagers that will send all of your traded goods to a storage system. That way you don't need to worry about it. This trading hall gets 3 different types of discounts. Of course, the direct zombie curing, the area of effect zombie curing, and it's also a raid farm as well, so you get the hero of the village effect too. So you can automatically turn this thing on. All these spawn spots will summon in pillagers. You'll get the bad omen effect from the trident killer down there, and then the raids also die down here. It's auto sorting the items and sending up the emeralds to the emerald collection area. So that's just one section of this area. There's also a really cool section over here that we haven't even touched yet. So let's take this little 2-way piston bolt and check it out. This area is actually so cool. This is the enchantment forge that allows you to auto enchant basically any item in the game. So let me explain. So we have enchanted book storage for basically every single different enchantment book in the game. So you would manually put these in here for like respiration, and then we have a shulker box display of them. If you were to take all of those, then it's going to break it and redispense it, similar to how we have our farm system over there. So we have a storage system for every single different enchantment book, and then we also have a storage system for all the different tools and weapons and armor in the game. Now, normal players would be like, this is epic. You can just go through here and grab some pants, and then you can go grab some pant enchantments, and then you can enchant it that way. But no. We gotta automate that. You don't want to be walking back and forth down this whole thing. It's like 50 blocks long. So this right here is an enchantment selection panel. So for example, this is going to give you a chest plate with all the different enchantment books. So let's go ahead and select just a silk touch shovel real quick. we'll press this button. That is going to grab us a diamond shovel and all of the enchantments needed for it, and it's going to dispense them right over here for us. So if we wait a second, all the items that we need are going to end up right here. As you can see, we got our shovel, and we got our unbreaking, our mending, our silk touch, and our efficiency 5 books automatically delivered to us, which is so cool. So you can do this for basically any tool or weapon in the game. So of course we could select a sword, we could do chestplate enchantments, we could do infinity bows. You get the idea. Anything that you want to enchant, this thing will automatically give everything you need for it. Also, I just really like this enchantment table right here. So if we flick this lever, you can see that the entire thing pops up, but it's actually cooler than that. So we can determine how many bookshelves we want. So as you can see, they just go down around the edges, and this is such a simple system. You just got a comparator here with redstone dust going all the way around the edges. Now, if you want experience to actually enchant your things, that's what the quad gold farm up above us is for. I'm sorry, brethren, but you knew this was coming. So the redstone for the back system over here for all of your enchantment selection and distribution and all of that is crazy. There's a lot of rails and a lot of observers to power everything correctly, but it's actually like fairly simple. Of course, you know, configuring the system probably is a little bit of a headache, but it's not too bad looking actually. So this is a huge build with a lot going on, and there's way more features that I can't cover here, but yeah, this build is insane. I'm on fire now. Oops. This is an infinite tunnel bore, which uses way more TNT than you might expect, but it's also a really fun layout. So let me explain. A normal tunnel bore would have your TNT dispensers or launchers be like right here, and this is what you would be trying to destroy. But this system has all the TNT launchers all the way over there, and then the TNT lands here and gets launched into the wall. So this uses unloaded chunks to prepare the TNT for launching. So what we need to do is press that button, flick that lever, activate this button. That's going to launch all of our TNT into the unloaded chunks. As you can see there, it's going to get launched off, and now there's a bunch of TNT sitting on those enchanting tables. So now we press this button, flick that lever, press the TNT button, and more TNT gets launched out. And this is actually going to prepare the TNT in the unloaded chunks to actually start breaking the stone over there. And now if we teleport over there, you can see that all the TNT comes flying in, and stuff actually does get broken over here. So in total, we have 4 different explosions happening to make this one little crater in the wall happen. We have one explosion here to launch our primer TNT down there, and then another explosion here to launch our actual destruction TNT. The third explosion happens right here to move our final TNT over into the wall, and finally that explodes in the 4th explosion to actually destroy blocks. Is this a practical system? No, not at all, but is it really fun and interesting and cool? You betcha. And as you can see, it just keeps on going and keeps on exploding, and it'll keep on boring through this thing. This next build is just over the top in every way, designed by Rocket Builder. Can you guess what it does? Just by looking at it, it is an insane piece of redstone engineering. And this is a non-stackable item sorter that doesn't use allays. So if we did not have allays in the game, this is what you would need to build to sort out all the different types of non-stackable items. This uses an insane number of different little game mechanics, interactions, little redstone features to be able to sort all of these individual different types of items and put them into their own chests. So of course we are sorting out all the regular stackable items first, and then you get your shulker boxes, your tridents, potions, flint and steel, and the shears. You get enchanted books, regular books, written books, an axolotl sorter. Basically what's happening here is redstone. Yeah, I think that about sums it up, guys. But yeah, you can input a whole bunch of different items into this thing, and then it'll automatically sort them and start firing them, and it's actually pretty quick as well. I want to see an axolotl get sorted. How does that work? We're gonna put a lot of axolotls in this thing, guys. I just want to see it. Oh, there they go. They like fall down. They just fall down here. That's amazing. So it just dispenses them. They just end up in a pile back there. It wouldn't be a redstone showcase without a useless machine, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically something where you place a lever and it gets automatically broken. So we have a very special one up here. As you can see, we can place the lever and it gets automatically broken. Very nice. But this is also a flying machine as well. We can move the entire machine forwards a block. This is the least useful machine I've ever seen. Now, if you thought that was useless, just hold your horses. This is a 35 blocks per second translocator. That's also a flying machine. So we can get into this minecart right here. We can activate that, and then we can go for a nice little ride. And honestly, This is pretty cool. I like it. That's pretty solid. And once you get to the back of the machine, you can open this chest right here, and that'll move the entire translocator forwards by a couple of blocks. It's going to loop back around and move again, as you can see there. Very impressive. And finally, we have the movable trident killer. So we can activate it with this fence gate right here. And as you can see, it will actually kill mobs. It does actually function as a trident killer. And then you can turn it off and move the entire machine by activating this chest right here. As you can see, Technical Minecraft has turned into a competition of who can create the least useful flying machine, and I am so here for it. This stuff is amazing. I got even more builds to showcase, but that'll have to wait until part 3. Thank you everyone who submitted builds, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe for more. I'll see you guys down in the comments and in the next one.